Bloggo's POW.
There's an overwhelming amount of downloadable games on console storefronts these days, so I'm going to have a look at a few Switch games that I've been playing recently that I've really enjoyed. Let's see if you do too. Right, so first off we have Skyrogue. This is the demo version. I haven't splashed out on the full game yet because I'm a bit stingy, but I have actually put a lot of time into this. It is a rogue style flight simulator, so that means you've got permanent death, but it's really smart. It's got a very clean polygon aesthetic about it. It plays a bit like Ace Combat on the PlayStation 1, and that's not a bad thing. It's just really good fun. And even though the permadeath is there, it's still not a case of I'm not getting annoyed with it. It always seems doable and I always seem to want to try again, so I'm going to fork out for the full game soon enough, I'd imagine. And it's got like a quite a nice in-cockpit view as well, which is interesting if a little bit distracting. It's just such a really nice, surprisingly fresh and very clean looking game. I do recommend it. Next up we have BioLab Wars, and this is practically a Famicom game. You can see that from the graphics here. It plays like a Famicom game. It's got 3 buttons rather than 2, and it starts off pretty slowly and pedestrian, but it soon gets going. By the time you reach the second stage, you're on a motorbike shooting at jeeps being piloted by goldfish. I'm not even kidding, look at that shit. And a boss which is an infant driving a HDV. You can't make this stuff up. It's really good fun. So if you do like your NES stroke Famicom style side scrollers, this is a really good bet. By the time it gets to stage 3, it really is just really ramping up. I've just finished stage 3, and it is really good. So worth a go if you do like this kind of game. Null Drifter is a twin stick shooter, and it's billed as a 1-bit twin stick shooter, and it's good fun. It's not going to be everybody's cup of tea because it looks as rough as hell and it just judders around all over the place. You need to turn your rumble off on this, otherwise you will start to get arthritis. I'm sure this game would give you some sort of horrible degenerative muscle disease if you played it with the rumble on. Having said that, it's good fun. Unlike a lot of games like this, when you die, you do keep your power-ups. So you can power up your craft and still keep your firepower or your damage and your speed. And you can change the palette on it as well, just in case you really want to hate your eyes. Yeah, not bad. I've played that better twin stick shooters, but it's definitely worth a quick go. Right, so next up we have Sentinel, which is the spiritual successor to Uridium. I do believe Huey Games is something to do with Hewson software in some way. I'm not entirely sure of the background there, but this is practically a remake of Uridium. It's not as tough as Uridium. You've got a shield rather than just instant death. And it's really good fun. It moves really fast. You've got a time attack mode. When you do finish it, it doesn't last a great time. I went through it in an afternoon. And if you really don't like your eyes, you can always play it with a Spectrum filter. Or if you really like brown, you can play it with a Commodore 64 filter. So that's nice as well. Definitely worth your time if you were a fan of Uridium back in the day. Right, this is Downwell. Downwell is for want of a better phrase, it's a platform game. but you can only go down. And the levels are randomly generated. The platforms, weapon power-ups, and that are different each time you play. And of course the idea of the game here is to get to the bottom of each stage. And it does get fiendish later on. I mean, I've got to the third set of stages now, and it starts to get absolutely nasty at that point. But it is just so addictive. You will want one more go because you know you can improve, and then you'll have a really shitty time because you'll have a shit couple of goes, but then it'll get good again. And then you'll be addicted again, and then it goes around in circles. I've put ridiculous amounts of time into this. Kim Justice recommended this on her channel a few months ago, and I've just been playing it ever since. Really good stuff, and I can't recommend this enough. Okay, it had to happen. One of the Sega Ages collection is here, and this is G-Loc. So I've not gone with the obvious Outrun or Space Harrier or whatever else route. I've gone for a game which doesn't get a lot of love because it is pretty thin. It is essentially a very tame version of Afterburner. However, saying that, I really do like the dogfighting in this. You can really get up close and personal to these planes and shoot them up the backside. Of course, it's always fun. It's got a few extra modes. It's got a facsimile of the CoinOps hardware with the moving seat or the static cockpit view. It's also got a mission mode as well, which you fly through as many missions as you can without continuing. One criticism I do have of it, as I said, it is pretty light, and I wish it had Strike Fighter, which is essentially G-Loc version 2.0. I wish they'd put that on here as well, but they didn't. That's a bit of an omission if you ask me. But otherwise, if you like the arcade game, you're going to love this. I don't think it's going to win over any new fans, but I like it, so I'm sticking it here. Lastly, we've got 80s Overdrive. And you can already see this really does wear its Outrun influences on its sleeves. You have a selection of vehicles which aren't really licensed sports cars. I mean, this is obviously a Ferrari 308. You can obviously see the other cars are based on other well-known sports cars from the 80s, like the Lamborghinis and that chubby Porsche 959 that keeps on popping up. And you've got police that chase you around. All a bit test drive in those respects, which will please somebody I know. And it's quite the career mode as well. There seems to be quite a few races to get through. You win money to upgrade your car, to buy new cars. You have to manage your damage level and your fuel level as well. And there's special missions popping up here and there, like one where I had to collect VHS tapes off the track for some reason. It's a bit strange. So it all does wear its 80s influence on its sleeve. The only thing I don't like about it, well, the handling's a little twitchy. It feels more like Hot Chase, the Konami arcade game, than it does Outrun. And the music's nice, it's that synthwave sort of thing, but and to me, it doesn't quite fit, but hey, it's pleasant enough. But yeah, I got this yesterday and I have been playing a hell of a lot. It's got a lot to offer. It's not just a quick arcade game. The career mode's pretty substantial. So there was some Switch eShop games that I've been playing recently. What would you recommend? Comment below.
Yeah, subscribe or naff off.